Welcome to Resilient in our Chief Audit Executive podcast track. I'm Sarah Fideli, and I lead U.S. Internal Audit at Deloitte, a role previously held by my colleague and friend, Sandy Pundmann. In the current age of digitalization, the role of internal audit is rapidly evolving and is as important as ever, perhaps even more so. How can internal auditors approach their work with a focus on delivering insights and foresights to their stakeholders? What more can they do to innovate with new technologies as they deliver assurance and risk assessments? How can they harness data to accelerate both insights and automation? In this episode, Sandy interviews Rob King, CVP and Chief Audit Executive at FedEx, on the people, technology, and automation to deliver value for the business.
The data that's available is massive, but how do we use that data to be insightful? How do we use that data to provide foresights? So we've got to teach those skills, make sure we bring those skills on.
Authenticity, determination, trust, grit. No matter how experienced you are or what industry you're in, the basics of great leadership are universal. Here are the voices of leaders who put these attributes into action. Adversity is never the end of their story. I'm so glad you're listening and hope you enjoy Rob's perspectives around the evolution of internal audit in light of innovation and how insights derived from internal audit can help drive higher value to the business and stakeholders. Let's get right into it.
We're here with Rob King. Let's talk a little bit about what you are seeing in the internal audit profession these days. What do you think are some of the hot topics that people are focusing on?
No, absolutely. In our business, especially at FedEx, there's a lot of business transformation going on because of the fact not only the growth of e-commerce, but just the customer's expectations constantly change. And as a result of that, innovation, digitalization, constantly coming at us and making changes to our control environment, making changes to our business environment. So we've got to be able to respond to all those changes. So just the pace of change itself. And then we, of course, have that wonderful cybersecurity as well. So the cyber world continues to give us many challenges and learn to be resilient through the process. So.
How has that changed your role in the organization, working with the C-suite and the audit committee and your team?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the what hasn't really changed. It's important that we continue to provide independent assurance to the board. It's important that we proactively assess risk. We're constantly challenged to make sure we're protecting the brand and identify efficiency opportunities. And more importantly, be a catalyst for change. Really, it's the how and the skill sets that we need. So we've had to change our talent and how we focus on talent, making sure we bring folks in that really have the ability to think critically, understand the business, and get not only into the business, but be able to bring insights to the business. And that's really important for the business side.
So how do you get, what kind of talent are you looking for now? What
it's
different
much broader
competencies?
Skill set that we're looking for, quite candidly now. I guess in the early part, traditional part of our audit organization, we were very, very focused maybe on the accounting and the finance person, but now it's a much more broader skill set that we're looking for. We're also bringing folks from the business into internal audit that really already know the business, and we can teach them internal audit, or maybe already know IT and have IT-specific skills, but we can teach them how to audit. So we've also brought them a much broader talent group in. And then we have some programs that really focus on those soft skills that helps them in terms of managing conflict and how they actually need to assess risk themselves and how they may think about the business. And then we also put them in the business in key meetings and key strategy meetings so they get a chance to learn the business. So it's just a change of the process.
How has the audit committee and your C-suite changed has it changed how they view internal audit and what they expect from you?
I think so. I think it's evolved as well as they continue to see the pace of change. They're looking for audit to help them with emerging risk. Help us know things sooner than as soon as we can. And so can you help us identify those? What's your process in doing that? I think they need that from the internal audit organization because the internal organization has the broad reach, and so that's what they're looking for more than anything, not just the hindsight and the controls. They want a little bit more about the risk.
Yeah, have you found, sometimes internal audit gets viewed a little bit negatively. How has that changed? How do you position with your executives about the value that internal audit can bring and focusing forward, not just on the hindsight?
Right. No, I think it has evolved for sure. I've been very privileged, I guess, in terms of having a very, very strong audit committee, one that's been very, very supportive from a top down and allowed us to bring them new strategies and them to accept those strategies and ability to, for instance, to expand in the operational areas, the strategic areas, looking at key initiatives and things of that. So they've been very, very supportive of that process, I think, as an as an audit committee. I think the key is communications in terms of just being open, transparent, giving them a strong insight, them gaining confidence that you not only have the right talent on your team to be able to exercise all of those challenges that are ahead, but also to deliver what their needs are just to be able to do their basic duties. So they need that provide assurance part, but they also love to have that risk assessment. And let me tell me what's important. What do I need to really focus on? What do I need to be challenging the senior leadership team?
So that insights is really
key for them. Absolutely.
You know, innovation, we are hearing a lot about innovation and disruption and business models. And you know, is innovation hit internal audit yet?
It has for us. You know, we have to keep that pace with our organization. When you think of FedEx, it's a transportation company, but it's quite innovative as well in terms of we have the robots now and we have the drones now. And so we've had to kind of keep up with that pace. So data analytics has been an important part of our strategic initiatives and how we become more efficient, how we do more with less. And we've taken a very strong approach to that. We have our own data science team that we actually do a 100% testing on a lot of areas. We do a lot of continuous auditing things. It's helped us in the fraud space. So we've had to be innovative in that. We brought a new employee on last year named Harry. It's the Harry Botter. So we have an RPA in that space. We introduced Harry to the team and explained how he would be a very value-added resource to us in the organization. And so, yeah, and through the RPA, we're finding opportunities to first internally help us become more efficient. Harry does all our internal metrics from a quarter-to basis. He helps us with our QARs and letting us know how we're doing things. But he's also coming into the audit world now where we can see opportunities for him. So, yeah, the innovation's important, so we've got to be able to...
And Harry doesn't get tired, does he?
He never gets tired. He works 24 hours a day, Sandy, so it's absolutely a great return. Absolutely.
So you've been a chief audit executive for a while, and I've known you for a long time. What does success look like for you?
It's a great question. I think success for me is really in three buckets for us. First of all, it's that are we providing the audit committee exactly what they need in terms of to be able to execute their daily mission and meet those expectations. Secondly, is to give insights to the senior leadership team so that we not only are doing the right thing strategically, but where we see opportunities, whether it's an efficiency opportunity or a strategy change, we're giving them those insights so they can make better decisions. And lastly, it's extremely important as a chief audit executive to continue to nurture that talent. So we spend a lot of time on coaching our organization, getting them aligned with the business so they understand the business, help teach them to know what the right risks are that we need to focus on and where we need to spend our time, and get them ready for other leadership jobs, positions within the company. So those are the three things that we really prioritize.
Great. What advice would you give a new chief audit executive that you might meet, and what are the things that you think would resonate with them to be resilient and to really do a great job in the role?
I think the first thing I would advise any new CAE is to certainly build the relationships and understand the relationships with their audit committee and with their senior leadership team. I mean, that top-down support and tone is so critical for them to be successful across the organization as they have the latitude to look at everything they need to look at, but also to drive that change. If they don't have that kind of support or no one's going to give them the support or listening to them in terms of when they have opportunities, it's very, very discouraging for the team. It's very discouraging for them. So that relationship building and building those relationships, I think that's the biggest value in our organizations, is that we have had and taken the time to build very effective business relationships, build trust, build credibility. We don't always agree. That's not what we're trying to do, but we want to have that very professional exchange and be able to bring something to the table and listen to them and then ultimately reach the best solution for the company. So I think that's the best.
Any other hot topics that you think we should talk about from an internal audit perspective that you think are resonating right now?
Again, the newer ones that we're still sort of going into ourselves is you hear a lot about an internal audit profession about agile. And absolutely, we as an organization have to continue to see how can we deliver faster. How can we move at the pace the business is moving? And some of that means agile, whether that means 100% adoption of agile or segments of agile that works for your organization. But I think all of us as leaders have to continue to look at that so that we continue to be helping our organizations be very, very productive, and actually move with the company. So Agile, I think, is something we're certainly looking into now. We continue to look at, as we talked about earlier, the automation, where other areas are, and teaching our team. I'm sure many organizations are seeing this too, that whether it's RPA or whatever, they are seeing much more automation and digitalization in their organizations, and we've got to make sure our auditors are ready to understand all of that and audit around that and through that, as opposed to just saying, oh, I've read about that, but I don't know how to get to that data anymore. So it's very important that we continue to educate our team on that automation and digitalization.
So you talked a little bit about automation and innovation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say we've got our crystal ball, and 3 to 5 years out, what do you think internal audit's going to look like? Is it going to be different? You think it's going to be, we're needing different kinds of talent? What do you think that crystal ball would tell us?
I definitely think it's going to be different in the sense of our control environment that we're looking at FedEx is going to continue to move to that automation. And as we continue to move things to the cloud, as we continue to become much more distributed in our processes, that the approach that we take and how we look at it is going to be important. The data that's available is massive, but how do we use that data to be insightful? How do we use that data to provide foresights? So we've got to teach those skills, make sure we bring those skills on. It's a transformation in our group as well for our team members to think day one about how to use the data, not to get into the fieldwork side and, oh, by the way, I need to test something. It's how you structure the audit from day one and use that data to your advantage, and hopefully to the point of focusing on the right risk and the highest risk in that. So it's definitely a transformation, and I think we see that coming in the next 3 to 5 years. Continue to teach our team members to think that way, not just immediately start planning and fieldwork and reporting as we have all done in the traditional way. So there's a little bit of different. And there's a lot of talented folks that are coming in.
So you think you're going to have more Harry RPA?
Absolutely.
Spots?
We're already planning out Harry. We don't have 24 hours of Harry working yet, so as soon as we get 24 and get ready to go to 25, we'll bring in whoever else we need to bring in at that point in time.
Well, thank you, Rob.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So many memorable takeaways from Rob. FedEx's adoption of agile methodology and integration of robotic process automation are clear examples of why they're on the forefront of innovation. I want to thank everyone for listening and welcome you to share your own favorite takeaways by sending me a LinkedIn message at Sarah Fedele, spelled Fedele. If you like what you hear and want more, check out all our episodes on your favorite podcast app, keyword resilient. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or Spotify. I'd like to thank the team at Rivet for helping to produce this episode, and to my clients and colleagues for their candor and willingness to share their stories. If you like what you hear or have other resilient stories you want to hear more about, hit us up at www.deloitte.com/us/resilient.